Mexico starts the World Cup with a 0-0 draw against Poland, and I think there's a few pretty big takeaways from this match, which I'm going to get into. But first, I just have to say it's a disappointing result for Mexico, because when you look at the quality of opponent, Poland, if they're not the weakest European side of the World Cup, they're the second weakest behind Wales. This is not a very good European team. It's a bang average team. Now, I've been talking about how it was a mismatch with the set pieces, and we saw that a few times in today's match. But Mexico needed 3 points. And I think all of us, if we got the 3 points today, we'd be having a fiesta. I mean, we'd be shooting fireworks off. We'd be in such a good position to progress now, but that didn't happen, and we leave the match with 1 point. I really have to start with Memo Ochoa when we're talking about individual players, and I mean, he's the GOAT. There's no discussion anymore. I've been saying that there's no discussion. He is the GOAT. Once again, rescues Mexico in the World Cup. And I said in a prediction video with me and the lads on our Deadball TV podcast, I said that Memo Ochoa wouldn't be able to save Mexico again, not because he's washed or he's finished, but because the Mexican defense was going to let him down. And they got close a few times. I mean, Hector Moreno, you just can't grab a fistful of jersey and yank. That's a recipe for a penalty. And as soon as it went to the VAR review, I was like, yeah, this is getting called. And once again, Memo Ochoa steps up and saves the penalty. And it's just incredible. This guy's entire journey with Mexico is absolutely incredible. It's movie worthy. This man better get an Amazon doc at the very least when he hangs it up, because this is just crazy. How many more times is this guy gonna do this? I don't know. Let's get into the takeaways. Number one, this match showed that not bringing Santi Jimenez and Diego Lainez was a mistake, and it was a mistake that all of us knew it was. It was no secret. It's not just what they're doing at their respective clubs, or what Funes Mori and Raul Jimenez are not doing for their clubs. It's the fact that when Tata Martino has to look to his bench, like he did today, there's no game changers on there. I'm sorry, but you cannot bring Charlie Rodriguez and a 50% Raul Jimenez onto the pitch to change the game. It's not going to work, and it didn't work. We barely did anything after those guys came on. Say what you will about Lainez at Betis and Braga, he brings a different dimension, and Santi Jimenez would have been perfect for this match. Bring him on in the 70th minute and let him run at that Polish back line. There was one counterattack in particular where the ball falls to Raul Jimenez, and he just looks like he doesn't know what to do, and instead of finding Chucky on the opposite side of the field, he tries to dribble three guys, and he just loses it off a heavy touch. And you can tell because he hasn't been playing. Don't get me wrong, we didn't draw because of Raul Jimenez or because of Charlie Rodriguez. But like I said, there's no dynamism on the bench. Attacking-wise, we are extremely thin, and we have nobody to rely upon when we need that change of pace. And it's going to be a problem against Argentina, against Saudi Arabia, just like it was a problem today. I thought that largely the Liga MX players really stepped it up today. I mean, Luis Chavez, his set-piece delivery was on point, just all over the pitch. He was just flinging balls left and right, obviously trying to open something up. Alexis Vega looked like a man possessed. I know he didn't do the best with his finishing, but at least he was shooting. At least he brought his shooting boots. Nobody else on Mexico wants to shoot. I don't understand this. It's like they're always looking for a tap-in instead of just taking a good shot. It really is frustrating. And Jesus Gallardo, maybe he was out of position one or two times, but he offered a decent amount going forward. Certainly more than Jorge Sanchez did. Edson Alvarez, I thought, was largely disappointing. I don't really think it's completely his fault, because how Poland were playing was just not really conducive to having a player like Edson on the pitch. He's a defensive midfielder, and Poland didn't want the ball, didn't want to play offense. So he was, as a result, just kind of standing there. And his offensive game isn't good enough to unlock a low block. And honestly, neither is Hector Herrera. Playing them at the same time against this team, Poland, how they're set up, it just was never going to result to anything. Unfortunately, who do we bring off the bench for creativity? I mean, we brought off Charlie Rodriguez. Maybe you could argue you bring Eric Gutierrez in as well, but it's an issue with this team. Maybe this is where you could use an Eric Sanchez. He didn't make the final cut. It is what it is. But this is going to be a problem we see again. I feel like if we have the Mexican midfield of the last two World Cups, I feel like there's enough there to unlock these Polish defenders, but it's just not clicking right now. And the last thing I want to say is this was a lot more of the same of CONCACAF qualifiers. A Mexico that has a lot of the ball, doesn't really get tested that much defensively, and just cannot unlock anything. It's a lot of wasteful possession. It's a lot of hesitancy in front of goal. Many times Chucky Lozano, he's already beaten his defender, and I don't understand what he does. He like waits a second too long instead of just firing the ball across goal. So instead of making Szczesny make a decision or forcing a deflection from a Polish defender, he just allows the defense to reset, then decides to put a ball in, it gets cleared. And we're seeing it again, this team cannot score. They really cannot score. Saudi Arabia, I know they beat Argentina, but that defense will leak goals. I mean, let's not forget Argentina had, 4 goals chalked off because they were offside by a foot. I mean, great result for Saudi Arabia. Maybe not a good result for Mexico, but that is a game that there has to be goals. There has to be at least 2, because you know they're going to come out firing. We have Argentina next, and they are going to be playing for those 3 points. It is going to be a tough game because we are playing a World Cup favorite in a must-win match for them. Also for us, but for them especially, because if they lose that game, they're done, and it's probably one of the greatest disappointments in footballing history. So these guys are battling to not be the biggest clowns in footballing history. Are we going to be able to get up for that on the opposite side of the pitch? I don't know, but I really hope so. This is pretty much exactly how it felt after the US-Wales game, where you could argue both sides left that match thinking like, wow, we really screwed up. We really should have gotten 3 points here. And Mexico, bro, we got to be feeling the same. Like, that had to have been 3 points. That had to have been 3 points. Because if we lose against Argentina, we have to beat Saudi Arabia, who will no doubt just be sitting back, 10 men behind the ball, and we're going to have to score against them. And Mexico hasn't been able to do that in a year now, a year and a half. And 2 of the guys who were the best at least causing pressure on teams that did that, Jesus Corona and Diego Lainez, aren't here. So we're really going to need Vega and Chucky to go beast mode. I honestly think that's what it's going to take for us to get a result. I mean, it's a draw, but it feels like an L. It really does. That's the video, guys. You let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Hit subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next video.